Nobody warned you that being the funny one was a life sentence, not a compliment, a sentence. You know that moment. Everyone's laughing. The room is alive. Someone's crying actual tears because of something you just said, and you're smiling. You're in it. You're performing. And somewhere behind your eyes, completely alone, you're watching yourself do it. Like you're standing 6 feet back from your own body. Present enough to keep the bit going, distant enough to feel nothing. That's the part you've never told anyone. It probably started young. Maybe the house was loud in the wrong ways. Maybe dinners had this specific tension. The kind where everyone's chewing too carefully and nobody's making eye contact. And you figured something out. Something that most kids never figure out. You could change the temperature of a room. One line, one face, one perfectly timed stupid noise. And your dad would exhale. Your mom would actually look up. The thing in the air, whatever that thing was, would dissolve. That was power, real power. The only kind you had. So you used it every time until using it stopped feeling like a choice. Stop for a second, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. What you actually did, and this is going to sound clinical for a second, stay with me, was you train your nervous system to treat your own pain as raw material, not something to feel, something to use. There's research out of the University of New Mexico showing that humor and emotional sensitivity are deeply linked. The quickest wits belong to the people who feel things first and fastest. You don't make sharp observations because you're detached. You make them because you're the most tuned-in person in the room. You notice everything. The shift in someone's voice, the thing that didn't get said, the exact moment the energy changes. You catch all of it before anyone else even knows something happened. That's not a personality quirk. That's hypervigilance. And a lot of the time, it grows in houses where you needed to read the room to stay safe. The humor came later, as a translation. A way to do something with all that input that wouldn't make people uncomfortable. Because you learned early that your sadness made people uncomfortable, but your jokes, those they could handle. So you gave them the jokes for years, decades maybe. Every time something cracked inside you, you turned it into content before anyone could see the crack. Every time you were scared, every time you were lonely, every time you were sitting with something genuinely heavy, you made it funny, and it worked. God, it worked. The problem with things that work is you never question them. Here's what I want you to sit with for a second. When was the last time someone asked if you were okay and meant it? Not as a greeting, not reflexively, but actually stopped, looked at you, and wanted the real answer. And here's the harder question. Would you have given it to them? Or would you have laughed, deflected, said something self-deprecating, watched them laugh back, and felt the moment close like a door? You do that. You know you do that because the real answer is terrifying. Not because it's dramatic, but because you've been performing okayness for so long, you're genuinely not sure what the real answer even is anymore. That's the thing about masks. Wear one long enough, you forget what your actual face feels like. Robin Williams. You knew I'd bring him up. So let's not do the usual thing where I say his name and let it hang in the air and hope you connect the dots. Let's say the actual thing. The people who were closest to him said the same thing over and over in the aftermath. They said, we didn't know. We didn't know because he never stopped being Robin Williams long enough for us to see anything else. The performance was total. The warmth was real. That part wasn't fake, but the performance was total. He didn't know how to be Robin Williams who was struggling, so he was just Robin Williams until he couldn't be anymore. That's not a cautionary tale about fame. That's a cautionary tale about what happens when you are so good at making other people feel okay that you lose the ability to let anyone make you feel okay. That's what's actually scary, not the depression, the isolation inside the performance. You drive home from those nights, the good nights, the ones where you absolutely killed it, and the car is quiet and something weird happens. You don't feel good. You feel emptied out, like you left something in that room and you're not sure you're getting it back. You sit in the driveway sometimes, engine off, radio off, just sitting there in the specific silence that only exists when you've been on for 4 hours and there's nothing left. And in that silence, if you're honest, there's something waiting. Something that's always waiting, patient, quiet, just wondering when you're going to let it exist. I'm not going to tell you to go to therapy. I'm not going to tell you to open up more or be vulnerable or any of the words that make you want to roll your eyes and make a joke about making a joke. I'll just say this. The thing that made you funny, the sensitivity, the observation, the deep feeling, room reading, tension sensing part of you, that thing is not the problem. That thing is remarkable. Genuinely. The problem is that it's only ever flowing one direction, out, always out, into other people, into the room, into the performance, and nothing or not much is allowed back in. That's not sustainable. You already know it's not sustainable. That driveway feeling is your body telling you it's not sustainable. You don't have to blow up your personality. You don't have to become someone serious and heavy who makes people around you feel like they're at a funeral. You just have to let one person, maybe just one, See the driveway version of you, the quiet one, the one without the bit. You might be surprised. They might not leave. They might actually finally feel like they know you. The funniest person in the room is often the loneliest. Not because nobody loves them, because nobody's ever been allowed close enough to. That's not a punchline. That's just true. Think about this for a moment. Every time you made someone laugh, you gave them a piece of yourself. Not the shiny part, the part that knows exactly what it feels like to be scared, to be small, to be desperate for someone to just see you. You wrapped that in a joke and handed it over, and they took it. They laughed. They felt better. And you felt what? You felt relieved that they didn't see the thing you were actually handing them. That's the deal you made a long time ago with yourself. You said, I will be the one who makes everyone else feel okay. I will be the buffer, the pressure release valve, the human Xanax. And in exchange, I will never have to actually sit with what's happening inside me. That was the trade. And you've been honoring it every single day since. But here's the thing about deals you make with yourself. You can renegotiate them. You can walk into that quiet room inside your head and say, this isn't working anymore. Not because you're weak, because you're tired. And being tired isn't a failure. Being tired is just being human. It's what happens when you've been giving all your energy away and forgetting that you're allowed to keep some for yourself. So let me ask you one more time, not as a greeting, not reflexively, but actually stopped, looking at you, wanting the real answer. Are you okay? Not the performance version. Not the version that makes everyone else comfortable, the real one. The one that sits in the driveway with the engine off and wonders what it would feel like to just be still, to just be, without the bit, without the mask, without the pressure to make sure everyone else is fine. Just you, sitting there, existing, letting yourself be seen. You don't have to answer me, but maybe, just maybe, you owe yourself an answer.